Kids, it's me. I think I'm alive. I see myself on the screen. I think. Am I live? Hi, Kev. Audio, no video yet. Can you guys hear? Can you see me? I was about to take my top off. I got video. I can see Kev. You look good. Hi, Kevin. We're all here, kids. Welcome to the Barnes and Noble. I don't know what you call it. Virtual book event, man. Celebrating Kevin Smith's Secret Stash, which every one of you in attendance is going to get a signed copy of this, man. They asked me to tell you that it ships in 8 to 10 days. So give them a break. As somebody who has a company that sells things and ships things, naturally, we're all spoiled by Amazon, who's like, bing bong, the bell rings, and you're like, what's this? They're like, you were thinking about it here. In the real world, those of us who have to pay federal taxes and shit, takes a minute to get a thing from one place to another. So bear with them. You will be getting your book in 8 to 10 days. And what a book it is, kids. I was just looking at the little video they started up with, and I was like, oh man, where'd they get all those great images? And then I remembered, it's a fucking coffee table book by the good folks at Insight Editions, man. Huge props to Chris Prince over at Insight Editions, who pursued me and this book for like a long, long time. We started working on this book 2-3 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, around the time of before the 20th anniversary of Clerks. And the book inadvertently led to Malcolm Ingram making the documentary Clerk. So Chris was so patient. And I gave him like 20 hours. He called me on the phone, and I recorded it here. That means record. Looks dirtier than I meant it. With microphones, podcast studio. This is my museum. This is my office, kids. So 20 hours went through my life, man, and it was wonderful. I got to recapture moments I hadn't thought about in a long time. Tough to find things that I haven't spoken about publicly before, but we did. We managed to find some cool new stuff. And that's what makes up the words part of Kevin Smith's Secret Stash. The photo array, because it's a coffee table book. Holy the fuck. I love saying this coffee table book. Thick as a dick, this fucking book. Love saying that too. Look at that. Thick as my dick, which I guess I'm showing you I'm not that thick. My God, you can kill a human being with this. You drop it on their head, don't use it as a murder weapon. It'd be so bad for my brand. What's good for my brand is the Insight Editions kids, the Chris Prince and all the folks there at Insight Editions built one hell of a beautiful book, man, with that gorgeous cover. Love it. Couldn't wait for this book to come out. I've seen it months ago. That's the beauty of being on the inside of this shit, kids. You get to see stuff way before everybody else. So I saw it in what they call galleys, but I also saw it as a PDF, like long before that even. And man, oh man, I didn't know that Chris reached out to all those people to write those little testimonials, or in the case of Ben's testimonial, the lengthy testimonial. I was so touched when I saw that. That blew my mind. And how I found out was through Ben. He had texted me, and he was just like, they asked me to write 100 words about you. I narrowed it down to 1,300 or something like that. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he said, the book, Celebrating Your Life. Oh, and so I reached out to Chris Prince, and he was like, yeah, he's gone. There's a bunch of people. So that was really sweet. Didn't think that was going to be in there. And boy, I am glad it's in there. Okay, enough about me. I'll ramble without getting to a single fucking question. So let's dive in, shall we? Because oh my God, look, we're gonna get through these, man. I know there's a chat, but I don't think I'm answering questions in chat. I think it's in the Q&A, which right now says they're open for questions. So here we go. We'll start with Julian Estopier. Let's see. Answer live. Yeah, I would like to answer this question live. Hi, Kevin. Huge fan of Jay and Silent Bob and Batman. My God, me too. We're practically twins. I know you sometimes write for DC on Batman, so I was wondering if we will ever see the crossover team up you know everyone wants. Bluntman and Chronic team up with Batman and the Bat family. Let me tell you something, Julian. I like the way you think. I bet you the folks at DC wouldn't like this idea whatsoever. They'd be like, "What you want Batman and Robin to team up with Bluntman and Chronic, and Bluntman and Chronic are Jay and Silent Bob dressed in costumes." Like, so I don't know. I'll float it. You know, next time I see Jim Lee, I'll be like, "Look, I saw like they just crossed over Scooby Doo with Courage the Cowardly Dog, so stranger things have happened." But I would have to come up with a story. I would do a serious one because, you know, like when I write comics, I don't really go goofy. I go very violent and very like Alan Moore. Not that I can't write like Alan Moore, but very Neil Gaiman, Alan Moore, Grant Morrison. Those are the comics that I was raised reading, so to speak, and the '80s darker stuff. So I would write that. I'd write a totally dark Bluntman and Chronic story with Batman and Robin. For that, though, I should write, you know, the Bluntman and Chronic, Invincible crossover. I have a better chance of that happening. I can reach out to, you know, my man Robert Kirkman and be like, "Bobby K, my billionaire buddy, richest man I know. Please, can I team my characters up with your well-known franchise?" But Batman and Robin, that's gonna be a long shot. Anyone in the Batman family. I'm shocked they ever let me write Batman in the first place. But you know, worth an ask, Julian, and ask I shall. Done. Ding. Oh my God, now all the questions are coming in thick as thieves. Look at this. There's 20. There was only 4 before. Andrew Markham says, I'm going to answer you live, Andrew. Whatever happened to annoying customer? Where did the cat live? That's the cat from Clerks. A question that entered my mind as we were making Clerks 3. Where did the cat live when Quick Stop was closed? Did the cat die in the fire? Is Randall a cat murderer? This has been bothering me for months. Andrew, I love people like you. You're people like me. You deep dive, you think, you overthink. I got a whole fucking career out of it. That's how I used to watch Star Wars and be like, what happened? I don't get it. What about the Death Star contractors? And now I got a career. Let's go one by one. Annoying customer. Lennon's Tomb was the cat's name in real life. It was Vinny's cat, Vinny Pereira. So he's the guy who, you know, he goes, a cute cat. No, he's the one who tells Dante, he's like, hey, he sees Caitlin. He says, I saw the notice in the paper. Congratulations. You know, she's marrying an Asian drum major. He's like, design major. That was Vincent Pereira. And that was Vincent Pereira's cat, Lennon's Tomb. So the cat in real life lived with Vinny and only came to the store when we shot that scene. In the movie, though, this is the fun answer. Where did the cat live when Quick Stop was closed? When Quick Stop was closed. So after the fire, you mean? I'm going to say that the cat eventually, I'm writing as we speak, the cat, somebody complained. And since Dante and Randall didn't own the store, the cat had to not be in the store anymore. So Randall took the cat home and became best friends with the cat. And then the cat died of old age. Not an exciting story, but like some lives are quiet. Did the cat die in the fire? No. Is Randall a cat murderer? No, he's a cat lover. This has been bothering me for months. Let me tell you a quick story. So, you know, we made this picture, Clerks, name drop, many, many moons ago. And then just recently we made Clerks 3. And the premise of Clerks 3 is that Dante and Randall make what is essentially Clerks. So we had a blast recreating shots from the movie. from the first movie because they shoot their movie in black and white as well. So we got to like recreate moments, key moments from the movie, man. And it was fun. It was fucking bliss. And what a great time. What a great summer I had. But last time we shot with a cat, we shot with Vinny's cat. And so in order to make the cat shit on cue, and mind you, this is like 93. I said, Vinny, keep the cat away from the litter box all day. And he's like, all right. And so, anytime the cat was walking near the litter box, Vinny'd pick him up or whatever. So that by the time we were ready to shoot at night, we thought the cat would just like, but it didn't. It took a few takes, but then the cat did shit magically on camera. This time around, there's all sorts of, can't fucking not let a cat take a shit, you monster. Like, what the fuck? ASPCA and stuff like that. So, and we had to get an acting cat. He was trained professional. It was vastly different than the first time. But like that scene's all cut in the movie, and you would never know that we did as many takes as we did. Cats and kids, they say. So there you go, man, Andrew. Tyler Pruitt says, Kevin, love Fat Man Beyond. Me as well. Stay tuned for news of Fat Man Beyond returning. I love the old format. The Denny O'Neil replay last year was beautiful. Oh, Denny. And I do also love the Fat Man on Batman old format as well. Any hopes, chance of getting Neil Gaiman on for an extended interview, maybe tied into the upcoming Sandman Netflix series? I'm answering that shit live. A good chance of doing it. I'm doing a thing with Neil on Friday. Well, we're shooting it for the New York Comic Con, the panel about the Sandman, audio play, the Audible show, season 2. I was lucky enough to be chosen to play Merv Pumpkinhead. So I'm going to be doing a panel with Neil. I would love it if Neil, had the time to like bomb by and spend a couple hours because, I love me some Neil Gaiman. Absolutely love him. So yeah, I'd say it's safe to say one day in the future that will absolutely happen. And it would be a good idea for it to happen around the time of this. So you know what? We'll look into it and see if Neil's going to be in LA, and hopefully he can come over and we'd jaw. But then again, we can also Zoom it, as we've been doing for the last 18 months. Okay. Angel Hench says, answer live. I love Tusk and tell all my friends they need to experience it. Thank you. I threw in the it. What is something you haven't told the public previously about making that movie? What a great question, Angel. What have I not told the public about making that movie? Let me think, because I am like rather candid, and I'm always like, here's a bunch of verbal diarrhea about fucking anything that has ever crossed my mind. Here's something that maybe a lot of people don't know. Jason Mewes was there with me every day that we shot that movie. He's not in the movie, but he was there with me. I don't know if he was a producer on the movie, but he was essentially my assistant. So him and I like drove to work together every day, from the hotel downtown in Charlotte to where we shot at the golf course. We shot that movie, his mansion, Howard Howe's mansion. The exterior of it is a big old house that's out near Charlotte. I forget the name of the exact town in North Carolina. But the interior was a closed down like golf club, like the main house at a golf club. So when we're in front of the fireplace, that was the lobby of a, what do they call them? Golf. I keep saying golf club, golf course, golf. Am I so stoned that I forget what we call what the universally accepted term for a place where you go and play golf, a golf course, country club. Thank you fucking very much, chat. Yes. It was a closed down country club. I have zero familiarity with that term, even though I watched Caddyshack like every day when I was a kid in the 80s. So yeah, we shot it at a closed down country club. All the stuff in front of the fireplace, most of the interiors of Howard House house for that whole first scene when Justin comes in. But then like when Justin wakes up after he gets his leg cut off, spoilers, that was also the country club. God, what did we shoot in the actual house? Not much. It was exterior because it's a big old spooky looking house. But I think we shot like, Wallace in his room, like when the phone rings, his cell phone or whatever. And he wakes up in the small room. I remember that was at the house. But yeah, the fucking back porch where, back porch. This is a big old sunroom where he wakes up and he's like, my leg is missing. My leg is gone. And Michael Parks is just cackling hysterically and literally laughing. He wasn't acting. Parks is a great actor, but watch his laughter in that scene is 100% authentic. Justin Long made him laugh so fucking hard by losing his shit. The more Justin lost his shit, the more Parks would laugh. But anyway, Muse was there every damn day. Me, side by side with me, making sure I ate lunch, like fucking. So anyway, yeah, there's something a lot of people didn't know. Dustin Jägermeister says, do you stand behind Brody's statement that Superman would blow his load right through Lois Lane's back? Or is Brody full of shit? Wow, how succinctly put. And it took, people fucking years. What was it, 26 years, going on 27 years since Mallrats? Yeah, Brody's full of shit. Brody's like everybody on the internet. He fucking knows an awful lot about little things and will fucking die trying to prove he's right, man. I love Brody as a character, but you wouldn't want him as a friend. He'd try to gaslight you and shit, like into, over shit that didn't matter, pop culture shit. But no, Lois Lane, Superman could definitely, there was an essay called Man of Steel, Woman of Tissue. I forget who wrote it. I was unfamiliar with this essay when I wrote Clerks. My reference about Lois Lane and how she would interact with Superman's load had more to do with a Superman annual that had on the cover of that annual, it's Superman and what was her name? Magda? I forget. But they're on Lois's grave making out. And it was like a Elseworld story, an Armageddon 2000 story. I forget what it was. But in that story, Lois is pregnant with Superman's child, and the child kicks and kills her. So I took my thing from that. But then when Mallrats came out, people were like, "Oh, you must have read Man of Steel, Woman of Tissue," and I was like, "Why? Of course I did." But then I did not pretend to intelligence that wasn't mine. It was not good for me or the aforementioned brand. Be authentic as much as you can. And in all things, even ridiculous shit. So no, I didn't cop to like, oh, of course I read that. I'd never heard of it until Mallrats came out, but it was based off of that Superman annual. Maxima, oh my God, Patrick Smith. Well done. Yes, Maxima was the name of the character. In any event, Sean Weed says, what was your favorite movie to work on, either acting or directing? So easy to say Clerks 3 because we just finished it and it's all fresh in my memory and whatnot, and it was a blast to work on. Yeah, oh my God, it was everything I wanted it to be. Talk about fucking midlife crisis therapy. I got to go back to Quick Stop and work. I got to go back to my job from my 20s in the 90s. And not just a job, but the place that like fucking made me in my life and whatnot. So not only did we get to make a movie, which like Clerks 3 is fucking wonderful, man. I've got 7 scenes left to cut and the whole movie's cut together. But oh my God, like being able to hang out in Jersey for 2 months, going to Leonardo and fucking like walking into Quick Stop and RST Video every day was just fucking bliss. So yeah, I mean that's fresh. So I'm gonna say that one. And prior to that, Clerks 2. Tusk was fun as well. I'm sorry, it's not. I was up cutting. We have a dog, a rescue dog named Marty, which I thought I was coming home to have to put her to sleep because she's old and she's blind and deaf. And when Jen came home from Jersey a week ahead of me, and Jen was just like, oh my God, Marty has declined. And so I thought I was coming home to Marty, you know, getting a big old filet mignon and then, you know, a big old needle, which I can't stand shit like that. Like, I know that's the contract when you get a dog, man, like, or any pet, you're just signing up for a fucking future heartbreak. And I know the rationale is better that don't cry that it's over, you know, be happy it ever happened. But oh my God, I don't know. I'm just programmed to try to extend life as much as fucking possible. So even when we've had dogs that other people in the house are like, it's time to let that dog go. I'm like, no, as long as they're still eating. That's what the vet once said to me. And vets reiterated today, not today, 2 days ago, came to the house to check out Marty. And he was like, she's still eating, drinking? I said, she'd eat everything if I let her. If I put a little barbecue sauce on the couch, she'd start taking it apart. It's like, then she's nothing wrong with her. Like she's old and she's blind and deaf. So you got to like kind of put your hand. She's got the worst congestion I've ever seen in an animal, man or beast. Like she sneezes, bro, on a regular, like 8 times a day, cum shot out her nose. Looks like fucking somebody shooting pornography, arcing ropes of jism coming out of her sneezy nose, man. All over the room, all over me, like, but you know, and then that's just the nose. Then fucking what comes out of her ass sometimes, good Lord. But we love him. What else are we gonna do? And let me tell you something. I thought I was coming home to a dog that we were gonna have to put down. I don't give a shit. I'll fucking take all the snot and shit and piss she could dish out so we can keep her around a little bit longer. I feel bad that she kind of trapped in herself without sight, without hearing, but you know, I pet her in a very specific way. So when I came home and started petting her, she like instantly was like, oh, that's Big Boy. Even though she can't see, she was like, that's him. So in any event, long story short, I was up very, very early. And because of that, that's why I was yawning. In any event, did I answer that question? I think it went away. Molly Elliott asks, hey, Kev, I pride myself and get huge compliments on my tattoo of you. What is the worst and best tattoo that you have seen? Of me? I saw like one of the weirdest was like Jay and Silent Bob and Olaf, the snowman from Frozen. Oh, that was rather creative. I was like, oh, yes, Olaf. But they're Olaf. You know, what a conversation piece that is. Worst tattoo, you know, mine, I guess. Not that it's bad, but I got the Mad Hatter. I've told the story a zillion times. I got the Mad Hatter on my arm right over here from Alice in Wonderland, the Lord Tennyson version. You know, we were in post on Clerks, me and Moj, we were cutting. There was a tattoo parlor in what, you know, is right now almost the place right next to Smodcastle, our podcast theater, which is at the other end of the Quick Stop building. And so there's a tattoo parlor there. Me and Mosier were like, let's get tattoos. And Mosier had a book in the car, and he got this like Zen tattoo on his back symbol. And I was like, I got a book in the car too. And it was Alice in Wonderland. And so I said, give me this, man. And the dude fucking did a really nice job. Put Mad Hatter on my arm. And I got back into Quick Stop, and Mosier was working the counter. And I said, I did it, man. Check it out. And I showed him my tat. And he was just like, oh, Mad Hatter. And I said, yeah, man, because I'm always late, right? And Moj looked at me for like a beat and was like, that's the White Rabbit. He's late. And I was like, fuck. So I have a Mad Hatter tattoo on my left arm or right arm. I forget which one it is. But it means nothing to me whatsoever other than like, hey, asshole, don't drink Pink Zinfandel. Fucking get tattoos. Bad move. Okay. Shaun Wade. What was your favorite movie to work on, either acting or directing? Didn't I just answer that? I think so. Yeah, I did. And then I answered that. I forgot to hit done. Did Loki from Dogma? Sarah Stout says, did Loki from Dogma go to heaven? What a great question. I love this. Also, will visit any more movies locations while they're still, will I visit any more movies locations while they're still open? I'm gonna pop by to one in Del Rey this weekend or Monday, because I'm gonna go see my mom. And I think that's like their last day. So I'll go down there and take some pics. And then, I went to the one in Red Bank because I was right there in Red Bank. And then based on where the next few are opening, obviously things were disheveled, put into disarray as far as movies, me going to movies pop-ups, because we were making Clerks 3. But now that we're done making Clerks 3, now it's just battling the Delta variant. But the question was, why did it go away? The question was, there it is, Sarah Stout. Did Loki from Dogma go to heaven? The rules of the church are pretty clear, but I like to think God, particularly our incarnation of God, is like insanely forgiving. Honestly, I think both Bartleby and Loki went to heaven. Bartleby apologized, said he was sorry. I was always raised to believe that even on your deathbed, if you recant, if you're truly sorry in your heart, the Lord has to forgive you, take you into heaven. So I'm gonna say Loki did go to heaven. I like that question. Well done. Let's see. Elizabeth Nigro, just gonna be safe. Answer live. Today's my birthday. Hey, happy fucking birthday. Best present ever. What, this? Stop it, you. Also, no question, but mad props for using Pearl Jam's Daughter for Reboot. I cried. Let me tell you something. I will never forget being in the side room. There's a bedroom. We rented a house in New Orleans. That's where we were when we were shooting Reboot. And there was a back bedroom, and I used that as my like change room. That's where I put my luggage and shit. And the editing room, that's where I have the laptop, and there was a small desk there. So I sat there editing. That way I wouldn't wake up Jen in our bedroom and stuff. So I remember it's like 2, 3 in the morning. And I was like, oh my God, like, what if, I know it's a little on the nose, but the song's not nearly doesn't match the subject matter. But what if we went for like Pearl Jam's Daughter? So I cut it into the movie, and oh my God, I was bawling. I was like, this is so fucking good. It works so well. It's so fucking beautiful. Oh my God. And, the problem with that is like songs cost money. So there was a question about whether we'd ever be able to keep it. I was like, look, I get it. It's Pearl Jam. They could be expensive. And I said, this is just for the temp cut. So I'm going to stick with it though. It's beautiful. And Amine, who was our music supervisor, reached out, and first we had to send a scene to Eddie Vedder and Pearl Jam to watch the scene and how the song was used, And they said yes. And better than that, they didn't charge us like an arm and a leg. And, you know, if the song had went into the end credits, that's why it ends right before the end credits begin, then it would have been treated like an end credit song. It would have been a lot more expensive. But for where and how we used it, it was a pretty sweet deal, man, for a Pearl Jam song. So worth it. I cried too, and I still cry when I watch that scene. P.S. I had a similar experience this morning when I was up with Marty, who was having a bit of trouble. So I was up awake at like 4:35 in the morning. So I started editing again, went right back into the edit. And I had a moment like that with a scene in the new movie and a song that I was like, I wonder if this song would work. And I don't know if we'll get that song, fingers crossed, but oh my God. It was so, I was like, I kept watching, you know, it was a very emotional part of the movie. Clerks 3 is very much like Clerks 2. But it's also very much like Clerks in as much as they fucking shoot clerks in it. So it can't help but be like both movies, but it's very emotional. It's about the boys growing up. So, you know, at age 50. So, yeah, there's a pretty powerful moment. And then I was like, I can't wait for Jennifer to wake up, my wife, because she's such a hard ass. I love her, don't get me wrong, but she's cold. She don't like cry at fucking Marvel movies, which I guess doesn't make her an inhuman, but like I cry at Marvel movies. I cry at the drop of a hat. I'm very in touch with my feelings and stuff. I'm not saying she's not. She just doesn't cry nearly as easily. And, you know, I was like, hey man, you want to watch something I cut? And she was like, I don't want to watch anything sad. She's like, I want to watch funny things. I said, oh, there's a very funny thing. The Sergio scene's in there. She said, oh, I like the Sergio scene. So, you know, it was in there, but it was encased in a bunch of other stuff. And then that song kicked in and she was like, ah! I was like, you know that song? She's like, yes. So it worked. And I love that. I love being able to make my wife cry with a movie, not, you know, in real life or with my behavior, but, you know, make a little story and then it's powerful enough to like make her laugh, but also make her cry, make her feel. That's the job. Anyway, happy birthday. Worst gift ever, fucking this. You will get a book though, and the book is amazing. The book is fantastic, kids. Steven Johnson says, any updates on Moose Jaws? Just been thinking about that this morning because I was like, well, yeah, we're not done with Clerks 3. There's still much to do, but like, you know, gotta think about the future. And I was like, So yeah, it ain't dead. If I'm still alive, Moose Jaw's still alive. Anonymous attendee says, now that Bennifer is back, should we expect a Jersey Girl 2, Gertie's Revenge? Damn Skippy, man. That's where Gertie's like, hello, father. And starts fucking force choking him from across the room. I'm glad to see you're back together, father. No, I doubt it. I'm not gonna. Things seem to be going well in that relationship. I'm not gonna like damn it by being like, hey, you want to make another round of Jersey Girl action and stuff? So no, but weren't those pictures of them at what was it, Venice or I think film festival? Don't they look happy? He looks so happy, and she always looks amazing, but he looks fucking fantastic. Like, you know, I get it. She's a huge catch, but he's a fucking big catch himself, man. He looks fucking good right now. I saw them pictures. I was like, I'd fucking date Affleck. He looks so good. He wouldn't date me. I'm below his pay grade and stuff. But oh my God, I think he looks fucking phenomenal. And that's not just like he's in shape, because I've seen him be in shape before. He's happy. Happiness just fucking pouring out of him, at least from the pictures I saw. So more of that, less everything else. Okay. Kenny says, yo, man, hope all is well, man. Was just wondering how the movie's gimmick came about and who is behind the logo, the creation of the logo, etc. How did it come about? there was, well, movies was a part of Dogma. It was a part of the plot. Like he was meant to be kind of like Barney plus Disney plus Mickey Mouse in our world. And he wasn't supposed to be a restaurant. That was, you know, it was like the scene in Dogma where Loki, where Bartleby is listing all the things that, you know, created by Nancy Goldriff or whatever the fuck. And he goes through the history of movies, including theme parks and shit like that. So that was always part of the screenplay. Then as we got close to production, like at one point they went to a fast food joint in the script, as we saw in the movie. And I think in the script, it was just like, you know, McDonald's, Burger King or something like that. And wouldn't you know it, neither of those fast food outlets wanted to be associated with, you know, our religious picture. You know what, that's unfair. I don't know if we reached out to them. I was told by production, they're like, Kevin, they're never going to say yes. So you might want to create, you know, a fast food joint. And I love that. That's one of my favorite things to do in making movies is the side shit, the world that the movie inhabits, making up fake products and brands. We just did a bunch of it on Clerks 3. Chuli's gum is now real. There's a movies cereal. Like I love shit like this. So many t-shirts. Me and Nate, Dark Nate, returns. Nate Gonzalez does all of our show art. You know, when we do live shows like Fat Man Beyond and stuff, he created a bunch of t-shirts. Me and him, I said, can you draw this? And he would draw it. But long before we started the movie. And same with Captain Ribman, you know, who does this, the Jay and Silent Bob Secret Stash logo. Came up with a bunch of shirts with him in advance and stuff. And they're all throughout the movie. So I love doing that stuff. In any event, Mubi, since, you know, we couldn't get a fast food joint, I was like, oh, let's just make a fast food joint around Mubi. Like, so it's one more thing. And I remember being like, kind of like, well, Disney doesn't have eateries, you know, at the park they do, but Disney doesn't have like a Disney restaurant. They tried once, if I remember correctly, but, you know, it felt like, well, it's going to be weird, but, you know, so it'll make life easier. Let's just make it movies. And so Scott Purcell, if I'm the guy that created the word movie and said, I want a cow who looks like Mickey Mouse, Scott Purcell is the guy that actually drew that, because I can't draw. So Scott Purcell created the artwork for Mubi. And, you know, the original look of what a Mubi's restaurant, you know, color-wise, him and Robert Ratface Holtzman, who was our production designer on the movie and production designer on Clerks 3. And he did Clerks 2 as well. Him and Scott Purcell came up with the look of the restaurant. Scott came up with all the characters. I think Ratface came up with Little Eddie, the cat who lives inside of your mouth. Enoch was mine. Surly, the aardvark. Pat the Monkey King, that came from a nickname Brian Johnson had given like one of the kids at the rec center when we were younger. But Scott Purcell was the artist, man. And there are different renditions of Mubi, which you will see in Kevin Smith's Secret Stash when it comes to you in 8 to 10 days, kids. The early incarnations of what it would look like. But then I was like, just make him look like Mickey Mouse. Because we were a Miramax film. Miramax was owned by Disney at the time. So I was like, let's bite the hand that feeds. What are they going to do? Sue us? They eventually made Miramax get rid of the movie. not because of Mubi, because of other things, but still. So yeah, Scott Purcell. And it was a necessity that Mubi's was invented. Mubi was in the script and stuff, but Mubi's, the fast food joint, came to be because we needed a fast food joint, and McDonald's and Burger King were not likely candidates according to the production folks. So boom, there it is. And now we do Mubi's pop-ups all over the fucking place, man. Happy accident. Imagine if that wasn't the case. If we had gone to a McDonald's or a Burger King or whatever, you know, local Pittsburgh or Eaton Park or whatever the fuck, you know, we wouldn't have this Mubi's pop-up thing going on. They just did a Funko Pop too. It's over there. I can't grab it, but I signed a bunch of them, about 1,000 of them yesterday. They'll be at the Jay and Silent Bob website, jayandsilentbob.com. Okay. I did answer that live. And then I'm done. John Perry says, or Perry, what has been your favorite Marvel What If episode so far? And if you could do one, what would the plot be? Answer live. My favorite so far, I love the Captain Carter one. I thought it was great. But come on, man, that fucking Doctor Strange one literally could have been a feature. That could have been the next Doctor Strange movie. Like, I know Multiverse of Madness is the next Doctor Strange movie, but it's worthy of a fucking feature. And it looks like that might not be the last time we see the Dark Strange, you know? So it was, that episode was fucking phenomenal. God, that show's amazing. What would I do for What If? What if Daredevil's what if Daredevil's father ran off and became a priest and he was raised by his mother? You know, if Battling Jack Murdoch was not a part of Matt Murdock's life, what happens? Does he still become the devil? As they call them on Netflix, the devil of Hell's Kitchen. You know, I would lean toward Hornhead, man. He's my boy. Okay. Aisha Cloud says, saw the image with Mistress of the Dark Elvira. I heard her. Any fun story you could tell about her? She was on Comic Book Men. I have no fun story. The boys absolutely loved her. She like never ages. I mean, if you see her outside the makeup, she fucking looks younger than she does when she wears the makeup. Cassandra. So that show was made like largely without me. I would go once a month and do the wraparound bits, but like it was designed so that Brian and Walter and Ming and Mike could carry the show and not worry about like, where's Kevin? Is he coming? Like, you know, that's why we did the podcast of like, tell me what happened while I was gone. Looks like I'm drinking out of a fucking pickle jar. My wife brought me a gigantic bell jar of water. I think it's meant to be poured into smaller cups, but I've just been chug-a-lugging it. But that's, I don't have any fun stories about her. Like I said, the boys loved her. And I love her as well, but they got to hang out with her. Let's see. John Perry, I answered that one about Marvel What If. Victor Figueroa says, hey, Kevin, I went to movies on Sunday. It was an awesome experience. Which one? The one in Red Bank? Because you're from Javier from NYC, it says. So you must have went to the Red Bank one. Sorry to ask a weird question, but always wanted to ask you what you thought of Phoenix's Joker, Joaquin's Joker. I'm a Batman and Joker fanatic, so I would love to know. Also, I love Fat Man on Batman. Have a good day. Javier from New York City. I loved it. I thought it was insanely masterful. And I thought, like, going into it, come on, why would you do this? Like, Heath Ledger gave us the best Joker we'll ever see and deserve. Like, oh my God, what a fool's errand this is for poor Joaquin. And then he wins an Oscar. His performance is so fucking unsettling and brilliant and beautiful. Yeah, he was absolutely magical. Now, granted, as a Batman fan, I would love to see his Joker versus somebody, you know, like fucking Batman, that kid grown up and stuff. But yeah, that performance was brilliant. Okay. You know what? I should go down to the bottom or top. Top is where the later questions are, I think. Okay, answered live. Talisa Gregory says, what book would you recommend to read other than your own, of course? My all-time favorite book, probably still The Catcher in the Rye. Right after that is The World According to Garp by John Irving. Yeah. And then The Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller and Watchmen by Alan Moore. It's good enough. I'm not well read. I write a lot, but I'm not well read. What's the last fucking book I read cover to cover? I think it was a Bobby Hull biography a couple of years back. I wonder if the older I get, will I settle back into books? My wife is a voracious reader. Jennifer reads like 3-4 books a week. It's crazy. Not crazy, but there are books all over this house that I've never touched in my life. They're mostly hers. Yeah, I hope that's not disappointing for everybody. Barnes and Noble right now is just like, hey, asshole, fucking books. Mary Growlow says, are there any special cameos in Clerks 3? Any that you're willing to reveal now? No, I didn't pay for the movie. Lionsgate did, so I'm sure they want to reveal all the cameos. And there are some very cool ones. Very, very cool ones. It's not like Reboot, where it's like, look at all the fucking famous people. Look at the parade of, it's Chris fucking Hemsworth. This movie doesn't lend itself to that. But we got people like cool cameos, like acting cameos, people like not just playing themselves and stuff, like cool actors who came in to do a part for a day or 2 days. But yeah, I don't want to reveal because it's Lionsgate's. They get to reveal it. So like the doctor, we got somebody very cool to play the doctor who saves Randall's life. Yeah, I can't risk. I got an SNLer in there, somebody from Saturday Night Live, somebody I love on Saturday Night Live. Yeah, cool people, very cool people. Gosh, there's a showrunner, future showrunner, has a cameo in our show early on. The first Jay and Bob customer of the new millennium. But yeah, Lionsgate will reveal, because we're a ways from the movie coming out. So I'll let them tell you when they decide, or I'll probably tell you when they say go. Nicole McGee. Mr. McGee, don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry. Nicole McGee says, hey, Kevin, I met Stan Lee before my son Grayson, what a great name, was born, and asked him to be his godfather, and he agreed. Since he's no longer with us, rest in peace, would you do the honors? No work is required. It's just a title. Nicole, you had me at no work is required. It's just a title. I am more than happy to stand in for my good friend and mentor and hero, Stan Lee. Means the world. I'd rather be a smod father, if that's possible, than a godfather. I don't want to get into the whole God thing with the kid. I did make Dogma. Smod father, probably safer. Thanks, Nicole. Nicole also asked, what is your favorite Stan Lee memory? Well, it's in Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, in the end credits sequence. There's a little piece of me and Stan doing a bit on the IMDb boat at Comic-Con a couple years back. And he is adorable in it. And he is legit laughing. Like, he's not play acting. He's like, he was sincerely bemused and having a good time that day. And he was always like polite and super sweet. Hey, Kev, how are you? He always knew my name. Jason would be like, hey, Kev's friend. He'd always forget Jason's name. But I love that. That's why I included it in the movie. It's so magical. Like, he's sincerely fucking laughing. Like, I made Stan Lee laugh. The whole idea was goofy and him pretending to act or trying to act. So I love that. When I think of Stan, I think of that moment. Because we were there to do a thing, you know, a business thing. Like, here we are fucking playing our roles, but he lost it. You know, the mask slipped a little bit, and the Stan Lee facade was replaced by the real Stan Lee for a moment or two. And when I say facade, that's not a negative thing. You know, Stan, as we said many times, somebody smarter than me said this, and I've just echoed it many times, one of the greatest characters, the greatest character that Stan Lee ever created was Stan Lee. So in that moment, you see the Stan Lee mask slip, and you see Stanley Lieber underneath that, and I love that. So I'm not saying go watch Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. You can just probably find it on YouTube or something, but it's a magical little piece of footage. So glad that I was doing the IMDb for so many years, the IMDb boat, because it afforded us that fantastic moment. And on tour with Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, when we were touring throughout 2019, I watched the movie every night with the audience and shit, packed houses and stuff. Back when you could have more than fucking 3 people in a room. And that part, I loved that part. It would always make me well up backstage watching it. I miss him. Tyler Pruitt says, hey, Kevin, love Fat Man Beyond. Thank you. I love the old format. Oh, we did that one. I just didn't close it off. Okay, Matt Cram says, you have mentioned before wanting to do a similar release with Clerks 3 as you did with the Reboot Roadshow. I would like to do that. Is that still the plan? And if so, do you have any idea when the tour would take place? I think there is a touring component involved, Matt, but Lionsgate has plans of their own too. So I'll know more in the next few months, but I would love to tour it again. I loved touring Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. I never would have stopped. I mean, thankfully, our last tour date was February 26th in New Orleans, where we shot the movie. That's where we wrapped the tour up. And then fucking quarantine happened, man. Pandemic happened like fucking 1 week later. So we went into lockdown. Thank God the tour officially ended by then. So I would love to do it again, particularly with this. My God, this movie is going to be such a crowd pleaser, particularly for people who like Kevin Smith movies, people who like Clerks 2, Reboot, like Jay and Silent Bob. It's going to play so insanely well. So fingers crossed. That is the plan, to tour. We'll see what happens if COVID agrees with us or not. Sarah Stout says, there have been a lot of very well-known actors in your movies. Alan Rickman, George Carlin, John Goodman. Alan, George, Goody. How did you react? I never call them Goody. I call him John all the time, but Goody's his nickname. How did you react when they were cast? Did they contribute any of their own ideas to production writing? Alan Rickman, how did I react? Over the moon, because he had come in to meet with Miramax, a general meeting, like they were trying to put him in something. And he came in, according to John Gordon, who had the general meeting with him. And John Gordon was our producer on a lot of flicks on the studio side. I don't know if, I guess he's got producer credit on it. But he's a producer on like David O. Russell's movies, man, like the fucking Silver Linings Oscars and fucking American Oscar Hustle and all that shit. Joy. So John said that Alan Rickman came in and within the first 10 minutes was like, I want to work with the guy who made Chasing Amy. Like, that makes me choke up just even thinking that fucking happened in this lifetime. The guy who's worked at, like, I remember going to see Die Hard and being like, this guy's fucking incredible. I came to see the one guy, Mr. Yippee-Ki-Yay, ironically. But fuck, I discovered the other guy. Well, Hollywood discovered him, but that was the day when I saw Die Hard. I discovered Rickman. I watched everything the man ever did. One of my favorite performances is in a two-hander with Madeline Stowe called Closet Land. He's amazing. He's amazing in everything. So when he came in and mentioned Chasing Amy, John Gordon said, Alan Rickman was just in here talking about how much he loved Chasing Amy and he wants to work with you. I was like, that's Metatron right there. That's the voice of God. We reached out to him. He read the script, loved it, and instantly said, yeah. And I remember being over the fucking moon because I was like, holy shit. That one felt like that was when I felt like I'd grown up. I'd arrived, so to speak, as a filmmaker. Because, you got to remember Clerks, Mallrats, Chasing Amy. They had kids my age in it. Shannon Doherty was very famous, but she was my age. Michael Rooker was in Mallrats, and Michael Rooker is a legend. And particularly even then, he'd done Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. But Michael was kind of close enough to us, close enough to the rest of us in age where he never felt like a grown-up, so to speak. Alan felt like the first grown-ass grown-up we had in the movie that we made, in any movie we made. And he was legit. Like, he came from other movies. He was like a movie star as far as I was concerned. Even though like Ben and Matt had become movie stars overnight by the time we made Dogma, thanks to Good Will Hunting and stuff. Alan Rickman was fucking Alan Rickman. So I remember him getting cast. George Carlin getting cast, I remember very well. I've told the story a zillion times. I went to, see him. So we sent him the script in the wake of his wife passing away. And I didn't think he'd be down to do anything and whatnot. So, and then I got a call from his manager, Jerry, and he was like, hey man, George wants to meet with you at the Four Seasons in Beverly Hills. Can you do that? I said, yeah, Thursday or whatever it was. So I'm late for everything, but I showed up so fucking early that day. So early. And an hour early, found a table that I could see him come in from any fucking entrance, even if he came in from the patio. It was just me and the wait staff for like a fucking hour. And then he comes in and the whole place is empty. I'm the only person in the restaurant at this point, sitting at a table. And I can't do it standing up because you would lose me. But he walks in and he does this. And then came over. He said, hey, George Carlin. I said, I know who you are. I said, oh my God, I'm a huge fan. He goes, I know, I could tell. He's going, based on this, and he's got the script in his hand, Dogma. I said, you like it? He goes, I did very much. He's going, kind of feel like I had something to do with inspiring it. And he goes, in some places, I kind of feel like I deserve co-writing credit. And we sat and chit-chatted, and he was like, look, I want to be in your movie, but I got an issue, and that's why I wanted to come talk to you. I said, okay, what is it? He says, as you know, my wife just passed away. And he goes, I said, yes, I know. My condolences. I'm so sorry. It wasn't just his wife, it was his business partner, Brenda. So he goes, I'm not ready to take the ring off yet. So what I was thinking was maybe Cardinal Glick can wear a Band-Aid on his finger. If I wear a Band-Aid around my finger, then I can keep my wedding band on and still play a member of the clergy without fucking up your movie. It just adds an element to the story. Like maybe people are like, why is he wearing a Band-Aid or whatever? He's going, but if I can wear the Band-Aid, I could be in the movie. What do you think? And I was just like, I wish you were my dad. That's so fucking beautiful. So yeah, I definitely remember that. And John Goodman, who I'd loved forever, going way back to like Revenge of the Nerds, Raising Arizona, Roseanne, like absolutely fucking loved him and still love him to this day. We reached out, and I remember when he said, yeah, especially we were worried because there was like no money attached, but originally like Sam Jackson wanted to do it, but Sam Jackson, like, it's a money thing. So I tried to bribe him with a big piece of artwork, $250,000 piece of artwork, but we couldn't get there. But that gave breathing room for a moment for me to be like, not John Goodman. So we reached out to John, and John was so ecstatic because he's like, nobody thinks of me for parts like this. He's going, I just don't get parts like this. He's going, yeah, in a heartbeat, I'll do this. And he was absolutely fucking lovely. I remember I read some interviews somewhere like in a year or two after, whatever the fuck, because he wound up in Argo and a bunch of stuff. And he said, like, all I know is Kevin Smith cast me in Red State, and I have not stopped like working ever since. And it was a very sweet thing for him to say. But I remember when he said, yeah, I was so ecstatic. I was like, oh my God, Dan Connor. Sean Wade says, how did you and Jason become friends? Mr. Jason Mewes? Oh, he was a kid who came into the Highlands Recreation Center. He was mostly Brian and Walter's friend. They kind of adopted him and stuff. And so they took him with us to a whatchamacallit, comic book show at the Penta Hotel, the William Penn Hotel, right across from not William Penn, Pennsylvania Hotel, Penta Hotel, Fred Greenberg comic book show, across the street from Madison Square Garden. So I was driving, and all of a sudden I go to Brian Johnson's house to pick up Brian and Walter, and Mewes is there. I know him from town and stuff. They've been talking about him a lot, like they were hanging out with him at the rec center. He was like a fucked up kid, come to the rec, and he'd make him laugh. So, they were like, hey, we're going to bring Jay with us. And I was like, I'm not fucking transporting a minor across state lines in my car. No way. And Brian's like, I'll drive. And then Mewes was like, shotgun. And we went to the comic book show, and like the whole ride up, he was just like, nooch, snooch, ning, bang, nah. All his little Mewesisms and stuff. And Brian and Walter were like, he's so funny. And I was sitting in the back like, he ain't so fucking funny. Because I was the new friend. And all of a sudden I was being replaced with a newer friend who was younger and funnier, fearless. I had lines. This kid did not have lines. And so Brian and Walter, I guess they got bored of Mewes at a certain point. And he started coming to my house. Just rolling by, because he lived around the block from me. He still does here in California. He literally lives around the block from me here in the Hollywood Hills. And my kid, whenever she passes the house with me, she's in the car with me, and we pass Jason's house, she's like, it's so cute that you live right next door to your best friend. And I was like, he lives next door to me. I lived here first. They bought a house later on. But it is very similar to how we lived in Highlands growing up. I dread the day that they actually move, because I'm like, oh my God, it's so comforting having them right around the block. It's like little Highlands. So he came to my house, and my mom was like, that dirty boy from town is at the door. And I was like, who? And I went out, it was Jay. And I was like, what are you fucking doing here? He's like, what are we doing today? I was like, we're not friends, dude. Like, we don't hang out. Like, we know Brian and Walter together. And so that's our connection, but we don't hang out. We're not friends. And he's like, oh, yeah, you're right. All right, so what are we doing today? So it was an unlikely friendship, but he stuck around and has for my entire adult life. I have been standing next to Jason Mewes both personally and professionally for over 30 years at this point. Like, I have my feet in the cement at Groman's Chinese Theater, now called the TCL Chinese Theater. It's the pictures of it in the book. Wonderful picture by Josh Gray in the book. So it's not me, director Kevin Smith. It's Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith, Jay and Silent Bob. That's how I got there. It was not by being me. It was by being friends with Jay. And I love that. Oh my God, you have no idea how much I love that our feet are in the cement at the Chinese Theater. Like, keep the Oscars, kids, keep the money. I mean, I could use some of it, so I'll take some, but I love that. Still to this day, does it for me. So glad I became friends with Jason. Otherwise, that probably never would have happened. Julian Estopier says, hey, Kev, longtime fan. Glad to finally kind of meet you. I knew you sometimes write for DC. We did this. I just didn't do the answer thing. Jade Stanley says, how about a Blunt Man and Chronic mashup show with Trailer Park Boys? I would love to. Oh my God, in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. Fucking Silent Bob and Bubbles, done and done. But we're involved in a game with them. We're in the Trailer Park Boys game. That's the closest we've gotten to them. Lovely kids, very successful. I love when a Canadian entertainment takes off like that, like Letterkenny. Like my wife absolutely adored Schitt's Creek. I was a fan of Kim's Convenience. So yeah, Degrassi, the aforementioned Degrassi. So yeah, man, I'm down like a clown. Trailer Park Boys, they got all them Netflix movies and money, man. If they were like, come up here, I'd be like, in a heartbeat, man. I'll put on the coat for you and the fake hair. Wanda Severio says, love all the View Askew universe. Thank you. Have you ever thought of writing a second generation like Degrassi? If so, which actors do you want to work with? Nah. I mean, there are elements of that in Clerks 3, very tiny elements of it. And as much as there's a younger character who's Elias's buddy in the movie that Austin Zager plays, and he was absolutely fucking wonderful. So, you know, there is like an element of like, oh, like there's a younger generation of Clerks, but no, I hadn't thought about doing it that deeply. I haven't thought about that deeply. Definitely, you know, let me tell you something right now. If Netflix was like, hey, we just wanted you to do a Clerks series, so, but it's got to be youngsters. Like fucking, I'd figure it out in a heartbeat. Tell Jeff like and Brian, hey man, you guys work like, you know, you'll do Comic Book Men, Kev on Comic Book Men type thing. Come in once a week, shoot your scenes, and out you go as the managers or whatever the fuck. Stranger things have happened. Which actors would I want to work with? Olivia Rodrigo. Finn Wolfhard. Number one, he's a great actor. Number two, fucking what a metal name, right? Jameson Lynch says, huge fan of yours, Kev. Have you ever thought about doing a Mallrats zombie movie? Have everyone holed up in the mall during a zombie apocalypse? It'd be tough to do an apocalyptic movie because Seth and his buddies did one. And so it would seem like, you know, we were doing it. We were an also ran. So I don't know that I would do an end of the world movie with Jay and Silent Bob or Mallrats. Naturally, the mall, you know, Dawn of the Dead shot at the Monroeville Mall, and our movie shot at a mall. So there's mall parallels, but Mallrats takes place in the real world. It's real. It's gritty and real. It's like The Wire or Euphoria. Like, it's like an HBO show. So yeah, I don't know if Mallrats could have zombies in it, then it wouldn't be real anymore. It'd be artifice. Although years ago, the chairman of Dimension Pictures, clench tight kids, one of the Weinsteins, this one Bob Weinstein. Bob Weinstein one day called me and I was talking to my wife, Annie, this is his ex-wife. We watched Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back again last night, and she said to me, you know what you got to do with them next, with Jay and Silent Bob. I said, what? What is it, Bob? And he goes, you know, what did Abbott and Costello do after all their movies? I said, retire, rich. One of them lost a child. I remember that. Sad. I saw the TV movie. One of them has a statue in Kearny, New Jersey. I think the Lou Costello Memorial. Statue. I should be so fucking lucky. Get fucking statue in my home state. And so I said, he goes, they met the monsters. He's going, and we've got a bunch of monsters at Dimension. So what if Jay and Silent Bob met our monsters? talking about Pinhead and Hellraiser, talking about Children of the Corn. I'm talking about Michael Myers from Halloween. So Bob Weinstein pitched me on like a horror movie with Jay and Silent Bob where they meet the monsters, modern day monsters. So I was like, Bob, are you talking about like, you know, fucking Jay and Silent Bob fuck around with the puzzle cube from Hellraiser and fucking, you know, wind up in their version of hell, which is like rehab. He's like, the movie's writing itself. So I was like, no, Bob, I don't want to do that. And I remember telling Ben about it. I was like, Bob Weinstein just fucking told me, he pitched me on Jay and Silent Bob meet like fucking Michael Myers and the Children of the Corn and Pinhead and the Hellraiser crew. And, you know, we laughed derisively for a minute. And then Affleck stops laughing and he goes, you know what? That movie would make so much money. You should do it. And I was like, I can't fucking make that movie. And he goes, you're lost, but people would pay to see a movie that fucked up. Okay. Joshua Lytle says, can we get a quick Shecky update? Shecky alive and well, 16, sprightly. She came to Jersey, joined us in Jersey. Luke brought Luke Taylor, who runs our website, filmmaker himself. And he married a girl named Taylor. Now her name is Taylor Taylor. Isn't that funny? The Taylor twins. Luke brought Shecky out to us, and so Shecky was with us and had a blast in Middletown in the backyard. She never had grass, so she was like loping through the grass. It was pure bliss for her, and she learned how to do their stairs because their stairs are very steep compared to our stairs here. She is 16, but she has been very sweet about Marty. She seems to understand that Marty, you know, is different, or maybe, you know, dogs can smell sickness or whatever the fuck. So normally we've had to keep those two separated by gates and shit. But Marty is now blind and deaf. And so Shecky walks by her and she doesn't freak out or anything like that. So, you know, I've been happy for Shecky. Because I think she missed, it's not like she's besties with Marty or anything, but, you know, there was a lot, she was scared of that dog. Her and Marty got in a fight once. Marty like had her in her mouth. Marty's a much bigger dog than Shecky. But, you know, and then we always felt bad. It's like, are we forcing this dog to live with her, you know, the dog that assaulted her? Like, what kind of fucking cruelty is that? But she seems to be very patient and understanding. She's now seen all the other dogs go. She saw Scully lose her power of being able to walk and then slowly fade. She saw Mulder do the same. We were big X-Files fans, Scully and Mulder. Louis passed away a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, while we were on the reboot tour. And now she's seeing Mad Marty go through it. So she seems to have a handle on the process. And, you know, one thing I keep telling Shecky is like, when your back legs go, you're going to be very easy to move around. She doesn't understand me because she's a dog. But, oh, I absolutely love her. She's doing great. She's doing great. Jameson Lynch says, oh, he did the Mallrats zombie movie. Sean Gold says, hey, Kev, big fan of the Askewniverse. Have you ever had a moment through the writing, production, or editing process where there was an immovable obstacle blocking your way, and how'd you get past it? I mean, Clerks 3, it took us 7 years to make Clerks 3 and 2 different incarnations of the movie. So, you know, there was a immovable obstacle blocking the way for a long time. How do we move it? Time helped. And, you know, making sure everybody was financially taken care of. You know, if you're making a movie with a number in the title, everyone should financially participate, because you don't get to make another movie with the thing in the title, you know, unless it's successful. Hi, Kevin. We have time for about 3 more questions and they need to wrap up for the night. Thanks so much. All right, just a heads up, kids. We're going to do 3 more questions. That answered that question, I think. Yeah, Sean Gold. So sometimes it comes down to how bad you want to do the movie. And, anytime shit went wrong or kind of quasi wrong, because it never goes wrong. My movies are so fucking simple that can't really fuck them up. Even I can't fuck them up. I would always say, like, at one point we were outside. I was wearing a Silent Bob coat, fucking hat and hair. It was 100 degrees in Jersey with thick ass humidity. And I was just like, I wanted to bitch. But whenever I wanted to bitch, I would always tell myself, these are the conditions under which you get to make Clerks 3. Tiny price. Shut your fucking hole, and go to work. So, because I waited so long to play with my toys again, to play with Randall and Dante and Elias and Jay and Silent Bob, Becky, even Emma. So, it took a minute. There was an obstacle there and a hurdle, and looked like it was never going to come to pass, but it did, and we did it. It was worth the wait. Get through it. If it takes 7 years, get through it. Get to the point where you got something to show for all that dreaming. Okay. Emily Pokrofic. What a great name. Asks, why didn't you do a cameo in Jersey Girl? What an excellent question, Emily. Nobody's ever asked me that, ever. I don't know. I guess I wanted it to be legit. Like, I was like, that's the same reason Jason's not really in it. Well, I mean, he was going to be in it. Matt Mayer played his part as the delivery guy. Jason was having some issues with the law at that point, so he couldn't be in it. But he wasn't in Red State for that reason, where I was like, I can't put you in Red State. It'll pull people out of the movie if they see you. But I felt that about Jersey Girl. Like, I can't put myself in the movie. It'll pull people out of the movie. And there's no Silent Bob here. I'm going to direct a movie and not be in it. And then when the DVD came out, they put me on the fucking cover anyway. Like, fucking in the left-hand corner, like, as a director with my headphones on, looking down at my cast. So, yeah, I don't know why. I think it was basically because I was like, well, this is going to be an awards movie. You got to treat this shit seriously. Robert Holtzman, Ratface, our production designer, was production designer on Jersey Girl. And his name in the credits was always Robert Ratface Holtzman. It's a joke. He says it's his film gang name, Ratface. So when we were doing Jersey Girl, I said, Rat, you got it. We were doing the credits. So Rat, you can't go by Ratface. He goes, what do you mean? I always go by Ratface. He's the guy in Dogma who's like, all right, mouthpiece, let's leave the nice Colonel alone and go for a ride. And Ben snaps his neck. So he's got that Philly accent. Sounds like Mayor of East End. So I forget what I was fucking, why did I bring Ratface up? Oh my God, I hit a pothole. It was a good story. I got so lost in explaining who the fuck Ratface was, I forgot why I brought him up. Jersey Girl, and he was our production designer, but why? Me not in it. God, I gotta trace all my thoughts back. I would say don't smoke weed, kids, but what are you, crazy? Like, this is worth it. Short-term memory kind of loss, worth it. Fuck. Ratface. Why did I bring up Ratface? Here's the production designer. I was talking about me looking down on the cast. Why was I not in it? Oh, sorry. So I said, Rat, you can't fucking use Ratface in the credits on this movie. He's like, why not? And I was like, because this is an awards picture, bro. We're going for awards. We're going to try to win an Oscar. So you can't fucking, can you imagine that? There's a time that's what I thought about Jersey Girl. World taught me much different. But yeah, I was like, you can't call yourself Ratface in the credits. And so in the credits, he's Robert Holtzman, not Robert Ratface Holtzman. Same thing. I think I was like, I can't be in it. This is an awards picture. Knowing what I know now, should have been in it. Especially like the, fucking egomaniac camera whore I am. I can't believe I didn't put myself in it. But you know, I've not been in a couple of them, right? Like, I wasn't in Red State, was I? No. I wasn't in Tusk. I was in Yoga Hosers. Somebody had to be. Okay. That's one of our three, two left. This ain't going to be one of the official last two, but Robert Weppel says, do you do Silent Bob as an ode to Charlie Chaplin and Buster Keaton? No, more of an ode to Harpo Marx. There's more of a Harpo Marx influence on Silent Bob, particularly with the, I could bowl anything out of my coat, than anything else. Great question, though. Brooke Blau says, hey, Kevin, what is your absolute most treasured possession? P.S. You were robbed on Celebrity Show Off. Brooke, you're adorable. I was robbed. I'm with you. Like, legit. But in any event, I don't know how I lived without that belt, but that was so fun to do. I was so glad we did that. Whether or not we won, it was so fucking fun to make Sun on Lockdown. And that's the first time I got to work with Austin. And then I wrote a part for him in Clerks 3. What is my most treasured possession? I mean, there's the shit I always have on me, like my phone and my laptop, but I wouldn't call them treasured possessions. They're just essentials, right? What do I own that I truly treasure? I mean, I'm a collector. I got shit galore. Collect shit with my face on it. Try to keep one of everything. But I don't have like movie props, like from my own movies. The stash, I guess the stash is a very treasured possession because it has all the treasures in it and stuff. Got a big TV in my room. It's 103 inches. It's pretty big. I like that. I watch a lot, but I don't even know if that's a treasured possession. You know, my hats. This hat is a very treasured possession of mine. The white hat I wear, the black variant I've been wearing lately. But I guess that's not really a possession. Those are just my hats. I like weed, but you smoke it. So can you really possess weed? Probably not. I don't know. I don't really have, I've got a lot of shit, don't get me wrong, but I don't have a lot of attachments. I'm very Buddhist in that way. And in the way that I was ready to die. Not like, let's do it, man, but like, you know, I accepted the fact that I was like, oh, I'm going to die during that heart attack. And then I lived. Yeah, I don't. It's a photo that's in the book that you'll be receiving in 8 to 10 days of me and Jay standing in the cement at Groman's that Josh Gray took. I love that picture. It's everywhere in my life. It's a gorgeous black and white, stunning black and white picture. It is it in this room? No, it's in the hallway as you come up the stairs here in the house. Should be in this room. There's a picture of me with my mom and my brother and my sister and my dad's ashes. That's in this room from that same day when we got our feet in the cement of the Chinese. But it's also at Smod Castle and it's also at my office in New Jersey. Everywhere I go, I like seeing that image because it really makes me feel like, wow, it still takes my breath away. I know the little idiot who lived at 21 Jackson Street, who, you know, got his feet in the cement years later. And the chances that was going to happen, 0. So I love that photo because it's proof that fucking, you know, in a life full of adventure and joy and creativity and self-expression, even this late in the game, so late in my career, there's still magical moments that blow even me away. You know, at a certain point, you kind of get used to like, well, this is the life. Like, this is what I do. I make movies. So these things do happen. But that one, that was so rare and so special. Okay. Brooke, we got one question left, man. Let's see. I mean, this ain't the last question, but Kelly Hatchell asked something that's very dear to my heart. Hey, Kev, were the squirrels eagerly welcoming you and Jen when you came home? Much love. At first, they weren't. Jen came home a week early before me, and she was like, the squirrels are gone too. She's like, Marty's declining, and the squirrels aren't even here. But then one of the squirrels, I guess, like got wind, like they're back. And so he started showing up. We got one squirrel. I think he's from the old guard, but because he'll take a peanut out of my hand and shit. But he's brazen. He just comes in the house, takes what he wants. We find him in the kitchenette, just eating peanuts out of a jar, fucking throwing the shells around like it's ground round and shit like that. And then he like Marty can't hear or see, so the fucking squirrel like comes in the house, walks right past her, like literally walk past her. Shecky sees the squirrels though and goes fucking nuts, but Marty's fenced in this area that Shecky's out of, and Shecky can't get to the squirrels, and we're worried that Shecky's gonna like chase the squirrel through a window and fucking fall 2 stories. So yeah, so the squirrel, there's a squirrel is now coming back, but this squirrel at least comes in the house. Not like them fucking uppity Jersey squirrels who would never come that close to the house and shit. God forbid, let alone take a peanut out of my hand and stuff. Okay, last question. Have I looked into getting rights back to dog? Yes, difficult. Would love to see Blunt Man be chronic comic tie-in. Yes, I would like to do that. Oh my God, I should do that. What a good idea. Why didn't we fucking do that when we were doing Reboot? Never too late, as long as I'm above ground. My husband and I first saw you cameo on Degrassi. Did you and Jason enjoy filming that? Very much. Also, do you keep in touch with any of the cast members? Some of them, whenever I see them. I mean, we all got together for that Drake video. He said so nonchalantly, name dropping again. Dustin Yeager says, if someone erected a Kevin Smith statue in New Jersey, what pose would you want to be commemorated in? What a great question. So original. Nobody's ever asked me that. So let's go out on that, man. What a great question. Let me see. What pose and which version of Kev? If I'm smart, it's Silent Bob. But then if it's Silent Bob, then Jay should be there as well. I know sooner or later I'm going to wind up commissioning a Jay and Silent Bob bronze statue to stick in front of Quick Stop, so that whenever people go, you know, there it is, like the Sonny Bono statue, fucking heating up in the sun and shit. But if it wasn't Jay and Silent Bob, that would mean I couldn't. If I would have to be, if it was Kevin Smith, I can't dress like Silent Bob. So like this jag, I mean, which outfit, which look to go with? Do you go with the hockey jersey look, which I wore for like over 10 years? Do you go for the sleeveless hoodie from fucking cover of Evening with basketball shooters? Wore those for quite some time. Or the jacket, the purple jacket, which I've been living in since the fucking heart attack. So post heart attack. I don't even know what look you would go in, but what pose? You know, I mean, director pose just means that a bunch of people are going to put their dicks in your hands when they take pictures and shit. And plus, I never do this. I'm never like, only for photos. When people are like, I'm taking a picture, I'm like, what pose would I be in? I mean, just to fuck with people, should I jump into the crane kick position from Karate Kid? So people are like, was he in that movie or the show? Was he in Cobra Kai? Why is he doing the crane kick? They're like, because he just loved pop culture. And like, why didn't you do like a fucking Darth Vader pose then? It was all predicated on an answer he came up with for a Barnes and Noble, you know, streaming event in celebration of Kevin Smith's Secret Stash. A book signed coming your way in 8 to 10 days, kids. Hands on hips. I never really stand like that. I remember when I was in 8th grade. This is the last story I'll tell you, and then we'll send you all off into that good night. Everyone's got shit to do. When I was in 8th grade, Sister Teresa was our teacher, and wonderful teacher. She cast me as Cromwell in our version of A Man for All Seasons. So Sister Teresa was conducting a class on, health and sexuality, but they would never use that word because it was Catholic school. So it was like, this is 8th grade, so I'm 13. And Sister Teresa was trying to illustrate the difference between boys and girls. She couldn't do the obvious, which is like, Kev, pull your dick out. Girls don't have that, or maybe they do. That's small. Somebody else pull your dick out. Sister Teresa would never ask anybody to pull their dicks out. She's a Franciscan sister of the infant Jesus. Their order is incredibly devout. So Sister Teresa says, Donna, come up to the front of the room. It's Donna Dempsey, classmate of mine, who I went to school with for 8 years, from first grade, kindergarten, 9 years, all the way up to 8th grade. And then she got leukemia or cancer and died in our senior year. 8th grade. And it only goes up through 8th grade at OLPH. And we were like desk partners and stuff. I went to see her in the hospital. It was really sad, man. Her whole life was ahead of her. Donna Dempsey. In any event, Donna Dempsey, Sister Teresa goes, Donna Dempsey, Kevin Smith, come up to the front of the room, bring your books. So, we had our books on our desk for studies, whatever subject we were doing. So we both come up to the front of the class, and I will use my copy of Kevin Smith's Secret Stash. Look at this fucker, thick as a dick. Sister Teresa would be so threatened by this. And all the pictures inside, she probably wouldn't like either. So I go up and this is how I hold my books. Like this. Like Silent Bob carried his books down the hallway, and in Jay and Silent Bob Go Canadian A in that Degrassi episode. So here's me holding the books. And Donna is also holding her books like this. And Sister Teresa goes, you know what? Never mind. Sit down. And so we sat down, and everyone was like, what's up? And Sister Teresa goes, well, I was going to illustrate that, like, boys and girls are fundamentally different even in how they hold their books. Girls hold their books close to their chests, and boys, I was supposed to hold the book under my arm like this, like a fucking football or some such shit. And so she goes, but Kevin held his books like a girl, so experiment kind of fell apart. So I've always been deeply in touch with my feminine side, kids. I don't care. I'd rather be a girl. They're creative. They make life. What do I got for being a dude? Fucking useless dick. Third appendage. So to bring it all the way back to the question Dustin Yeager asked, if someone erected a Kevin Smith statue in New Jersey, what pose would you like to be commemorated in? Schoolgirl. High school, hallway schoolgirl pose. Leaning against the locker. That pose I was famous for in life. There it is, kids. We went so long, and the good folks at Barnes & Noble have been very sweet about letting us go longer than we should have. I hope you enjoy the book. I love it. Absolutely love it. Again, big thanks to the folks at Inside Editions, Chris Prince, for putting the book together, all that patience, all those years. So worth it. This is a legacy piece, man. Means the world to me. My wife was super impressed. She's, as previously mentioned, she's the bookie in this house. She's a real bookster, librarian, Madam Librarian. So it was a big deal when I was like, look, she was like, oh, a coffee table book about you, and I'm in it. She was way more into the fact that she was in it than I was in it. But so thank you to Inside Editions for booking me. in such a way that impressed my wife. I might actually get to have sex with a woman tonight. She was so impressed by my book. Took a book. Go figure. There it is, kids. Your books are coming, signed by yours truly. Thank you for hanging out for this event. Hopefully it wasn't boring. I tried to get to a lot of questions. We answered 32. That's got to be some sort of record for me. Thanks for being here. Thanks for buying the book. Thanks for taking part in the Barnes & Noble event, the virtual event, ladies and gentlemen. And have a great night. Enjoy your book when it comes, man. Hit me up on Twitter. Let me know if you like it. Love you all. That's just not a facetious like fucking thing to say because I'm in the entertainment business. I legit love you all. You afford me a dream life because of folks like you buying the tickets to the movies, buying the book, stuff like that, buying all the Funko Pops. I ain't had to live a real life in a long time. So thank you. Thank you all so much. I love you all. And again, meaningful because I hated work. So I haven't had to work for years, thanks to you guys. Obviously, I have a hard time finishing, something my wife always tells me. So I'll just pull the plug right now. I'm gonna rip the Band-Aid off, kids. There it is, man. Have a great night.